Every club has two words on their mind: hope and optimism. The hope that the team will get better. The hope that they can improve. Unless you're Brisbane, who have won the last 2 flags, the only thing they can really is just win another flag. Sometimes this optimism can turn into reality in round 1. And in this video, we're going to look at the top 5 biggest round 1 upsets in AFL history. And number 5, in 2012, where Fremantle defeated Geelong by 4 points. Now, Fremantle in the 2011 season, they finished 11th, including losing their last 7 games of the season, whereas Geelong went on to actually win the premiership in 2011. The match itself didn't look like it was a premiers versus 11th in 2011. It was actually quite a tight contest throughout the whole game, and both teams kicking over 100 points made it a very high scoring game. But this game's actually well renowned for the incident with Matthew Scarlett and Hayden Ballantyne. It was in the 3rd quarter and they were just having a bit of a push and shove in the forward pocket. And I think Ballantyne got under Scarlett's skin to a point that he put a nice little jab into the jaw and he went down, and it all started from that point on. It's just what Ballantyne is. He's a bit of a pest and loves to get under the skin of players, and he definitely did that game against Geelong. Freo skipper Matthew Pavlich kicked a couple of goals in the last quarter, and the Dockers held on to a 4-point victory, and it was a bit of an upset given that the positions of last season. But Freo were starting to build in that year, and they were led by Nat Fyfe, who was best on ground, and that's where he began his dominance for the next 8 to 9 years. And number 4, we only just gone back to last year, round 1, where Richmond defeated Carlton by 13 points. Now in 2024, Richmond were actually bottom after only winning 2 games, whilst Carlton finished 8th and were knocked out in the elimination final by Brisbane. But before this game, you look at the betting odds. Carlton were $1.05 to win this game, and Richmond were a whopping $10.50. So even the bookies gave him absolutely no chance of Richmond to even get close. And you know what? If you looked at probably halfway through the 2nd quarter, you'd probably agree, because Carlton got themselves out to a 41-point lead against this young Richmond side. But as I said, that 2 words, hope and optimism, really shone since then, because Richmond were able to find a way to come back and actually get the victory by 13 points. All started by their number 1 pick of that year, of Sam Lolo. He was unbelievable. He kicked a couple of goals, and then even Seth Campbell kicking a couple of goals, and especially one of his celebrations in the last quarter when he kicked the goal and did the backflip probably showed the enthusiasm of the youth that the Tigers had that game, and they were just unbelievable for basically 2 and a bit quarters, and they were just best at it, kicking 13 goals forward, which were quite accurate. And I remember watching this game and absolutely stunned by how they just turned it around that well and able to get a victory. And really, as I said, they just had no chance of winning this game, and they absolutely deserved it. They did so well with it. Absolutely one big upset for round 1. It was unbelievable. And you know what? They didn't finish bottom in 2025, so maybe this win really did help them at least not get the wooden spoon for another year. Number 3, we got round 1 in 2019, where Brisbane defeated West Coast by 44 points. Now the Lions, they were 4th to bottom the season before, and the Eagles just won the flag by beating Collingwood in 2018. So you can probably understand seeing how in round 1 there was a massive turnaround and Lions winning by 44 points, which is actually a very decent margin, especially against the former premiers. And at quarter time, West Coast were cruising, really. They were 27 points up against them, but then Brisbane just bounced back and did not look back then. They kicked 14 goals to 2 since quarter time, and it was led by their 2 small forwards who are both still playing the Lions, Lincoln McCarthy and Charlie Cameron, with McCarthy kicking 4 goals and Cameron kicking 3. Now you could probably argue the case that this Brisbane team was on the verge of something special at this point. Chris Fagan was just joining the club. I think he was there for a year or 2 at this point, and he was able to build this team a bit. And you could see they had Lachie Neale, who I think recently came to the Lions at this point, and they were ready to make that jump from that bottom 4 all the way up, and which they did. They actually finished 2nd in 2019. So really, if you want to make it an upset, call it what you want, but it is an upset given that they were 4th to bottom last year, and West Coast were the premiers, and they just took it to town at the Gabba, and they dominated the game from quarter time onwards and really set their season up for 2019. And number 2, we've got a 2021 where the Adelaide Crows defeated Geelong by 12 points. Now this one was quite interesting to watch. I was actually quite shocked watching this game too. Now the year before was the COVID year in 2020, and the LA Crows, they actually finished wooden spoons that last year, and Geelong actually made the grand final against Richmond. So you could argue the case that this match wasn't really going to be too much going from 2024, but as I said before, you always have hope when there's a new year, and the Crows showed that because they came out firing at Adelaide Oval and absolutely stormed away to a 38-point lead at halftime, absolutely stunning the Cats and probably the football world too, for the matter, who was watching, because a lot of people did not expect this to even happen at all. But as they did tire a bit, the Crows, because it was a very young side they had, and Geelong did firing back, but they did hold on to a win by 12 points. Now, this was led by Taylor Walker. He was brilliant for the Crows. He kicked 5 goals as he led this young Crow side to a great victory. The Crows were able to avoid the wooden spoon in 2021. They did finish 4th to bottom, but at least this win was definitely one of their biggest highlights in the 2021 season. Before we get to number 1 biggest upset in round 1 history, I've got a bonus upset for you, and that is me, because you have not subscribed to this channel. To those people that are watching that have subscribed, thank you, really do appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. But the people that haven't subscribed, please take a second and click the subscribe button and put on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of this, because there'll be plenty more content coming this year. We're doing some round reaction videos of every club, and with the opening round beginning, you'll be seeing that next week. And then there's some other content that I do throughout the whole year, where it's opinions, top 5s, you name it. And let me know in the comments if there is any videos you want me to do. I might potentially do that as well. But also give it a like as well, this video, and comment your top 5 of the biggest round 1 upsets in history. But now let's go back and let's go to number 1 of the biggest round 1 upset in AFL history. We're going to 2014, and we're going to the Western Sydney, whereas the GWS Giants defeated the Sydney Swans by 32 points. This was the Giants' 3rd year in the AFL. In the first 2 seasons, they finished wooden spoon in both occasions, and they're going up against the Sydney Swans, who actually finished 4th in 2013, and their team is quite stacked at this point. They were a very good side, and in 2012 they actually won the flag. And to make things even better for them, this was the first game that Lance Buddy Franklin actually played for the Swans, moving from the Hawks, and then also a bit more controversy into this is that everyone believed that he was going to go to the Giants, but it ended up he went to Sydney, so created a bit more controversy and created a bit more spice into the Battle of the Bridge. Well, Buddy Franklin got off to the perfect start at the Swans. He kicked a first quarter goal with a 50-meter bomb, and it looked like that it's just all going to be easy for the Swans. They had a good lead into the first quarter. They had a 13-point lead, and they were leading throughout the whole game. This also is actually remembered, this game is actually for the Lightning that actually delayed the game between the first and second quarter, so they had an extra 20-minute break waiting for the Lightning to go away, so it created a bit of a delay, and the game was actually quite even between the two sides. The Giants really pushed the Swans to the limit. I think people were thinking that Sydney were just going to roll over the Giants in the end, but it turns out it went the other way, whereas the Giants kicked the last 6 goals of the game to run over the Swans and win by 32 points. And Buddy only ended up kicking that 1 goal in the first quarter, and it was actually overshadowed by a couple of the key forwards from the Giants, where Jeremy Cameron kicked 4 goals and Jonathan Patton kicking 3 goals as well, especially that one in the goal square in the final quarter, which is kind of be remembered for as well, looking at highlights. But the Giants, they were fantastic the whole game. They stayed with the Swans, and then, as I said, 6 unanswered goals in the end really just took over the game, and they were fantastic. They deserved that victory, and it was a big one for them. As I said, they were wooden spoon in their first 2 seasons, and to get this was their best win at the time, no, without a doubt. Well, the Giants were able to win 6 games in the 2014 season. They finished 3rd to bottom, but it was the first year they didn't finish bottom, so that is a win for them. And Sydney, they actually ended up finishing equaling top and making the grand final, but in the end losing to the Hawks in that grand final by 63 points. So this video should show that even if your team did not have a good year last year, they could start well this year. I'm talking about all the people that support the teams that have been down the bottom. I'm talking about West Coast. You never know, you could beat Gold Coast and Gold Coast. It seems a little bit impossible. You never know what could happen. You got Richmond fans. You can believe again, you can beat Carlton once again. You never know with that. North Melbourne fans, you got Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium. You could produce something magical there as well. And Essendon fans, you've got the Hawks at MCG Friday night. What a time to get a big win on the board. This is what I mean. You never know what could happen. Those 2 words again, hope and optimism, and that is what is so exciting about this league. You never know what could come in round 1. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you'll like this video right here. I think you'll enjoy it. We will see you over there.